So this is the table of contents of our presentation that contains of introduction, background of ISIS, factor of ISIS, key actors in ISIS, impact on global security, and the conclusion of it. Before we start, I would like to introduce our team member, which is started with me, Putri Angli binti Muhammad Zudi, Nur Fatisha Najwa binti Cik Mansur, Nur Samihah binti Razali, Siti Zuliana binti Azmi, Nur Najwa Nasfatin binti Muhammad Nasir, and Nur Ain binti Azman. So I will explain about the rise of ISIS, which became one of the most formidable terrorist organizations of the 21st century, surpassing even Al-Qaeda in military strength, resources, and brutality. At its height, ISIS controlled significant territories in Iraq and Syria, displacing millions of people and contributing to the global refugee crisis. What set ISIS apart was its ability to govern these areas like a state, which redefined the nature of modern terrorism. The group not only employed extreme violence but also implemented a strict interpretation of Islamic law. The origins of ISIS can be traced back to the network founded by Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, a figure heavily influenced by Salafist ideologies. Unlike Al-Qaeda, which focused on global jihad, ISIS had a distinct goal of establishing a territorial caliphate centered on its own version of Islamic governance. The geopolitical context of its rise is crucial. The US invasion of Iraq in 2003 led to the collapse of state institutions, creating a power vacuum that allowed extremist groups like ISIS to flourish. The Arab Spring further destabilized the region, providing fertile ground of the group expansion. ISIS also demonstrated sophisticated approach to recruitment, attracting fighters from over 18 countries through effective use of propaganda by promising a sense of belonging and a chance to participate in a historic cause. ISIS was able to expand its reach and operational capabilities. The impact of ISIS is profound, as it has reshaped the landscape of global terrorism and left a legacy of violence and instability that continues to affect the Middle East and the world today.
The background of ISIS. The full name of ISIS is the Islamic State of Iraq and Asham, or more commonly known as Salafi jihadists. At first, ISIS was led by Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, who is the founder of ISIS establishment. In 2004, he merged the Iraqi extremist network with Al-Qaeda in Iraq, AQI, and he continued leading AQI for 3 years until his death in 2006. However, AQI is still in operation after the organization was taken over by Amir Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi in 2010. Then, in 2011, the operations of the organization became more active when they started to expanding the strength into eastern Syria to increase the numbers of members in the organization. The name of ISIS was introduced in 2013 and in 2014. The organization was separated from Al-Qaeda. Then, in June 2014, ISIS launched an offensive of Mosul and Tikrit, and they declared themselves as a caliphate. They renamed the group as Islamic State after it took over from Aleppo in Syria to Diyala in Iraq. There are two examples of the conflicts that involved by the ISIS. So the first issue is in 2015, a Russian airliner was bombed by ISIS allies in Egypt, killing 224 people. Then, On November 13, a ceasefire occurred in Paris when 113 people were killed and more than 300 injured in a series of coordinated attacks. So, this conflict is fully responsibility by the ISIS as the terrorists. So, there are many issues involved by ISIS, especially in killings, IED attacks, ambushes, military-style assault, kidnappings, and suicide attacks in Iraq and Syria. The target focused by ISIS is government officials, military personnel, and civilians who are considered enemies of Islam are the main target of ISIS. So, the first tactics that ISIS used is IED attack. For example, in 2021, there was IED attack in Afghanistan that believed to have been carried out by ISIS that killed more than 1,000 civilians, while 2,700 people were injured. Then, the second tactic is ambushes. The tactics used by ISIS involving a surprise attack on a travel convoy or military patrol to cause maximum chaos and damage by targeting military and law enforcement units and taking hostage. At the moment, ISIS will use the tactic of suicide bombing carried out by individuals who are willing to die in the act of attacking the target. The third tactic is ISIS will use individuals kidnapped during attacks as hostage to demand ransom or bargain with the rescuers. Kidnapping are used for propaganda to attract attention among the young generation to join this militant struggle by using the increasingly sophisticated mass media facilities of today. For instance, in November 2022, a 50-year-old Singaporean citizen was detained under the Internal Security Act (ISA) for being influenced by terrorist propaganda online and supporting Al-Qaeda and ISIS. So, these are the activities and tactics used by ISIS in continuing the struggle of those who are considered religious and forces who cause riots and are responsible for the high number of deaths, injuries, and damage that occurs in specific countries involved.
Now I will explain about factor of the rise of ISIS. The rise of ISIS can be linked to the political instability caused by the US invasion of Iraq in 2003. When Saddam Hussein regime was removed, he dismantled the Iraqi state and created a power vacuum. The disbanding of the Iraqi military and banning of Ba'ath Party members left many people jobless and angry, especially the Sunni Arabs. These former soldier officials who felt excluded and powerless helped form and grow a group like ISIS. The new Iraqi government, seen as a corrupt and favoring Shia Muslim, made the situation worse as many Sunni feel marginalized. ISIS took advantage of this anger by representing itself as the defender of Sunni Muslim and used sectarian division to gain members and power. Poor governance and sectarian tension allowed ISIS to grow into one of the most violent groups and insurgent groups in Iraq and beyond. The second factor is the civil war in Syria. The civil war in Syria began in 2011, created the perfect environment for ISIS to grow and expand their power. Initially sparked by peaceful protests during the Arab Spring against the President Bashar al-Assad government. The situation escalated when the regime responded with extreme violence, including arrests and chemical weapons. As the war intensified, Assad's forces focused more on defeating moderate opposition rather than extremist groups like the ISIS, which allowing ISIS to take advantage of the chaos. They also seized fully governed areas, capturing towns and also key locations and resources like oil in eastern Syria.
This organized international involvement further weakened the opposition as conflicting support for different rebel factions led to fragmentation. This has allowed ISIS to grow stronger, even capturing Raqqa, which became their self-declared capital. Using propaganda, ISIS recruited fighters from around the world, presenting itself as a group that capable of restoring order under Islamic law. The ongoing violence and lack of authority in Syria has enabled ISIS to rise as a dominant force in the region. The third factor is ISIS' effective propaganda. Propaganda played a major role in its growth by spreading its ideology, recruiting members, and promoting its vision as an Islamic caliph. Unlike traditional insurgent groups, ISIS utilized modern technology, especially social media platforms like X, Instagram, and TikTok to reach global audience. They produce high-quality video, magazine, and online content that combine messages of unity and power with also acts of violence. This appeal to young people and Muslims and those seeking a sense of belonging. One of their key tactics was promising a utopian Islamic empire governed by Sharia law, which offering dignity and prosperity to Muslims frustrated by the issue like unemployment, discrimination, or lack of opportunity. They have used terror tactics such as beheading and mass killing to instill fear and also project invisibility, which also sharing softer imaginary of community and governance to attract recruits. By communicating in multiple languages, ISIS successfully reached people across the Middle East, Europe, North America, and Southeast Asia. Lastly, foreign fighters and funding significantly contribute to the rise of ISIS. The group's extremist ideology and vision of utopian state attracted recruits from around the world. Many of them face challenges in their home country. While it's commonly believed that poverty drives radicalization, research shows that most foreign fighters came from economically advanced countries with stable political systems, like the US, Singapore, or France. ISIS propaganda exploits its vulnerabilities, offering a sense of purpose and community, which resonate globally. To sustain its operation, ISIS developed powerful funding strategy. Oil smuggling was a major revenue source, earning millions monthly by selling crude oil on black market. It also imposed taxes on local economy, blackmailed communities, and conducted kidnapping for ransom. This diverse financial tactic, combined with global recruitment, helped ISIS to expand its influence and continue its activities even under intense military pressure.
There are three actors in ISIS crisis. First is Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. ISIS, also known as the Islamic State, came from a group called Al-Qaeda in Iraq and was led by Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. It took advantage of wars in Iraq and Syria to grow stronger and, in 2014, declared a caliphate. ISIS enforced strict rules, committed terrible crimes like killings and slavery, and destroyed cultural sites. It used social media to spread its message, recruit fighters, and earn money through smuggling and oil sales. A US-led coalition fought back, helping to take back ISIS territory by 2019. However, ISIS still exists through hidden fighters, and its ideas remain a global threat. The second actor in the ISIS crisis is the Syrian government. The Syrian government, led by President Bashar al-Assad, played a major role in the ISIS crisis during the Syrian civil war. After protests in 2011, Assad focused on fighting moderate opposition groups instead of ISIS, which critics say allowed ISIS to grow stronger. Later, with help from allies like Russia and Iran, Assad forces attacked ISIS-held areas but caused massive civilian death and destruction. These brutal tactics made Syrians lose trust and worsened radicalization. Even after ISIS lost its territory, Assad's government remains in conflict with other groups, keeping Syria unstable and showing its ongoing role in the crisis. The third actor in the ISIS crisis is international coalition led by the United States. The United States and its allies formed a global coalition to fight ISIS and stop its spread. Leading Operation Inherent Resolve, the US carried out airstrikes, gathered intelligence and supported local forces like the Iraqi military and Kurdish fighters. This helped reclaim key ISIS areas like Mosul and Raqqa. The coalition also provided aid to those displaced by ISIS and worked to block the group's funding. However, tensions with Turkey arose over US support for Kurdish forces. Even after ISIS lost its territory, challenges remain, such as sleeper cells and extremist ideas, requiring continued global cooperation for long-term stability.
Next, I will explain the effect of ISIS on global security. ISIS, or also known as Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, established in 2040 as a militant group known for its brutal tactics, including mass murder, kidnapping, and beheading. By declaring a caliphate, the group took control of large part of Iraq and Syria, enforcing strict Islamic law. Its actions have had significant effect on global security, particularly in the area of terrorism and violence, foreign fighter requirement, and also economic distributions. One of the major effects of establishment ISIS is terrorism and violence. The group has carried out numerous attacks worldwide, causing fear and insecurity. In Europe, high-profile attacks such as the Paris attack in 2015 and the Brussels bombing in 2016 target civilians in public space, leading to stricter security measures. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, ISIS exploited political and sectarian division to seize territories, cause armed conflict, mass displacement, and weaken government institutions. Their control over this region allowed them to establish operational base, recruit fighters, and fund their activity through illegal means like oil smuggling. Another key effect is the requirement of foreign fighters. ISIS has used social media and propaganda to attract fighters from around the world. For instance, it published English language magazines such as Tabi and operated news outlets like the Ahmad News Agency to spread its message globally. By 2050, approximately 30,000 fighters from over 85 countries has joined ISIS. These fighters, upon returning to their home country, pose a significant threat as they may continue to spread violence, terrorism using the skill and ideology they gain. Finally, ISIS also caused significant economic distribution. By seizing oil fields in Syria and Iraq, they grew in millions of dollars daily through black market wholesale. This wealth funded their operation, allowing them to purchase weapons, pay fighters, and maintain control over territories. The international community has taken measures such as airstrikes and sanctions to disrupt ISIS oil trade, but these efforts have required substantial financial and military resources, straining the budget of countries involved. In conclusion, ISIS has had a profound effect on global security through its act of terrorism and violence, its ability to recruit foreign fighters, and its economic distribution. Even though international efforts have reduced its influence, the consequences of its action continue to pose challenges worldwide.
In conclusion, the rise and actions of ISIS show how instability, poor leadership, and the misuse of religion can create dangerous extremist groups. ISIS used chaos, political weakness, and community frustrations to gain power and spread fear, causing harm to millions of innocent people and leaving entire regions in ruin. However, military action alone is not enough to eliminate extremism. To prevent the rise of similar groups, we must address the deeper problems such as poverty, injustice, and lack of opportunities which allow extremism to grow. By promoting trust, tolerance, and fairness, societies can build a peaceful and secure future where extremist ideas no longer take hold. So that's all from our group. Thank you so much and have a good day.